Hello, welcome to the presentation of the 3.6 update of Shadow World. In this video I'll cover all the last 3 patch we had since last time I did an actual live stream, because there's been a lot of improvements all over the place and a lot of things I haven't talked about in the latest stream. So I'll go back to, we are on 3.6 right now, and the last video I did was on 3.0. There's been a lot of improvements all over the place. I'll cover everything. Okay, so let's get back to the 3.2. So 2 weeks ago we changed the spawnable management in Shadow World. So now, instead of managing everything inside the detail panel of your Shadow World, it's all been moved into specific assets. I'm just gonna hide something. This. All right, better. Okay, so in your spawnables, you have your you now have a biome manager. This biome manager is actually a new object. You can create this object from the from your content browser. Shadow World biomes. The biomes now have the can have multiple spawnables, and spawnables are also items you can create here. So you can share all these new items between different worlds. You can you don't have to set up everything in the detail panel. You can store it inside objects. You can see here I have a green biome. A green biome is has rocks, trees, grass, and 2 types of grass. A grass which is drawn near the camera, and the grass which is drawn far from the camera. It's all stored in different objects, so it's completely reusable. It's much cleaner. It's you can completely iterate using the objects. So if I check the grass close, you can see, for instance, if I want to draw a dense grass even further away, I can completely tweak here, and it's saved inside the objects. Go crazy. Less grass, more grass, further away. Okay, it's a bit much. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so you can save it, you can iterate and save all your information. You don't have to edit the detail panel. It's inside objects. It's much cleaner, much more scalable, much better. So that's a biome, the biome and the spawnable. There's also the material and material collection. Material and material collections, you can use them inside the material panel here, and it allows you to create automatically your texture arrays of materials and assign name to them. For instance, here I have instead of using a custom material collection, like I have here somewhere. You can see here I have a material collection. It's automatically creating texture arrays, and I can assign materials. Materials are actually just a set of textures which are typically from the Megascan library. So you have albedo, normal map, and your packed ambient occlusion, roughness and displacement, and you can assign a name to it inside this object. And using this object inside so this is a Shadow World material, and using Shadow World material inside the Shadow World material collection, it's going to create automatically your texture arrays, and you can have name assigned to different materials. Thanks to those names, you can then use brushes which are actually relying on names instead of using instead of using the IDs or anything, you can now use names of textures. For instance, here I have this new kind of brush. This brush is actually using a mesh instead of a texture. So yeah, it's using this skull mesh to paint the terrain. It's actually, you can see here, I did it with the geometry tool inside an engine. And I'm editing the terrain with a skull. This is a skull mesh. That's pretty cool. Instead of using, it's an option. Instead of using a texture, you can use a mesh. And to change the material underneath, I just mentioned that I wanted to paint the ground material to use the red ground. Red ground is actually the name given inside the material here. Red ground is number 2. So here I've manually set the name and IDs. The IDs are actually the indexes inside the material, in the material array. But you can have it managed automatically by the material collection. It's just here. Okay. So here I did it manually. I manually entered the IDs, but you can you can use a custom asset which is doing all those IDs automatically. So you can change the order around, and the IDs will adjust behind the scene. You don't have to care about it. So the material. So you have really all those new objects. The biomes, the spawnables, the material collection. It really makes things much easier to manage your information. Okay, so this is all the objects. Yes, so have you seen the new kind of brush? There's which are actually taking a mesh. It's pretty cool. So I signed the skull mesh is here. And it's projecting it on the ground. There's been improvements on the space partition work. So here, if I take a camera, kits. I'm gonna be able to see all the partition being drawn around the camera. So there's less sectors being created, which means less draw calls, because there were too many draw calls generated on the former version. You can clearly see the update rate of the ocean increasing the closer you get to the camera. It's really cool. There's also the bounds of the clip map, so it's really cool to see all the various bounds of all the meshes that can be culled during rendering. You really have a sense of the clip map here. Oops. Okay. There's new brushes to generate height. There's the mesh brush, but also the the 8 map brush. I'm just gonna change map right now. I'm gonna go to the 8 map. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna place an actor and I'm just gonna add a brush component. 8 map brush component. You can see I have there's a new interface which is much more user-friendly. And I'm gonna grab a mask. You see I have various blend mode. I have the min mode. If you want to minimize, take the min of the brush or the terrain. You can increase the scaling. There's also the max mode. Or the adaptive. So you can now use simple mask textures like that. You don't have to use imported 16-bit texture, but you can also use 16-bit, and you can even use TIFF maps, which are GeoTIFF 32-bit data. So you have all the options. You can import spatial LiDAR spatial data taken from space or planes using the 32-bit import. There's also right now all the computation has been moved into producers. You don't have a generator anymore. Your generator is actually a producer which is named height. There's a new material interface for shadow worlds. So you go inside your material. Any material you want to use to do computation with shadow world is surface opaque unlit with the virtual 8 field mesh flag turned on. And if you scroll inside your material to shadow world, you have all this new data you can access. You can access the height of the shadow world actor. So literally here, I select my actor, transform the Z component. You have the relative position of each vertices of your shadow world. You have the layer output. So I'm going to show you the layer generation. Right now we are inside the 8th generation, the formerly named generator material, with the data 8-bit output. So right now, for instance, I'm reading the UE5 logo and I'm storing it inside the 8-bit information. If you check here, the height is actually stored inside a render target which has 4 8-bit available. And the alpha channel wasn't used before. So what is now available is you can store extra information. The height is actually stored on 3 8-bit slots inside the render target, and the last 8 bits are actually now available. So you can store extra information. Right now I'm using this logo and I'm storing it inside the data 8-bit. And I have a layer here which is actually reading the extra 8-bit information and storing it inside the red channel of this layer, which is also using 4 times 8-bit render target, and is named simple layer. Inside my material, I'm reading simple layer, And if I check what's actually stored inside this this simple layer, you can see I have the UE4 logo, which was stored inside the extra 8 bits, which is then exported inside the red channel of the first layer. You can see the UE4 logo, which comes directly from the generator. So you can create masks, and you can use those masks to spawn data. There's also the ability that to create holes in the terrain, so you can make a cave entrance or tunnels or anything. So right now, for instance, I've created the holes using these skull textures. So you get to keep in mind that right now my pawn has a function which is teleporting me back on the surface if I go under the terrain. If I want to disable it, you can do it at runtime if you know that your character or pawn is going under the terrain. You can disable this teleport by using the SW collision component, and you prevent falling under the terrain. You can disable it, so you won't teleport back to the surface. So you can have an underground base or anything. So in the Shadow World also, there's been a lot of work into converting the backend of the computation to CPU. So right now there's a lot of everything is done on GPU. You have the brush system and all the backend, which is managing the all the interactions of the render targets, you don't only have the brush system, you have the brush system and all the interaction in between. So all the interaction in between are managed with compute shaders. And these compute shaders, which are making the backend, have been converted into CPU. So the goal is to further down the line, if you convert also the brush code into a CPU, you have a full solution with CPU support and GPU support. But right now only the backend has been, the backend including the asset spawning. The asset spawning can be done on CPU, given the height map and the normal map. So yes, we've seen the new nodes here: Shadow World Surface Normal, Shadow World Input. You have all this new way to interact with the content you generate. Of course, you also can choose the formats to store your information in. There's been improvement on the transition between LODs. So you can see it's pretty hard to see the transition. Let's see if I use level of detail. Looks pretty good. And smartphones now can use the adaptive topology as well. So as you can see, as opposed to the Unreal Engine landscape, which is using the same topology everywhere, here we are using actually an adaptive topology which is optimal to reflect the topology, the topography of the terrain underneath. So you can have better quality with less polygons actually. And it's compatible with smartphones, which wasn't the case before. So you can visualize the collisions. And now if you change actually the resolution of your collision, it's gonna change the visualization, so you can have a better sense of what the collision is looking underneath. Yes, you can also change how far you're generating collision in editor. Okay, so if you wanna, the idea is that if you want to place item in your world like that, you're gonna need collision actually. If you want to place further away, I can do it. So what you can do is actually in editor you can increase the range at which you're computing collision, and you're going to be able to place item whenever you want. I guess that's it. A lot of updates, a lot of improvements. So new spawnable objects, the new producers organization for the content production, the new nodes, the move to everything on compute shader as opposed to formerly using raster compute. And yeah, that's it. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty lots of updates, lots of change, lots of improvements. There's also been improvements on the collision generation backend and the improved stability of multiplayer collision generation. Lots of stuff. That's it. Thanks for watching.